Hey guys, I'm here today to show you basic bass bait and what to use and what not to use. Okay, let's get started. Here are my crawdads. They work pretty good. One thing about these is you have to hook them from the back. Usually all the movement's in the front. You can do much with these. You can bobble them, you can sink them, you can just reel them in slowly. Whatever you need to. And whatever you need to do. So let's move on to the snakes here. Here are the snakes. Pretty much you do the same thing with the snakes as you do with the crawdads. You can bobble them, you can sink them, you can just reel them in. I think they work pretty fine. So let's move over to the shad over here. Here are my shad. They work pretty good. Most bass usually eat shad, so they'll probably go crazy for them. So yeah, let's move on down here to the buzzbait. The buzzbait is top water spinner. Practically. It just has this right here that makes a lot of noise when you reel it. Bass love it. Here's my spool. You just reel that in slowly. It's pretty flashy. A lot of bass like it. Okay. Here's my topwater frogs. I got the smaller one and I got the bigger one. You can just reel these in slowly. You can sit there and reel them in and pop them. Whatever you want to do with it. You can reel these in and just bob them because this one has a lot of movement in the back of it. Bass love it. Here are my spinners. You just reel these in. The faster you reel, the higher it goes. The slower you reel, the lower it goes. Bass like the colorful ones, so if you never buy one, get one of these. Okay, let's move down here to the jigs. The jigs are good for certain things. You can sink them, then bobble them, or you can just reel them in slowly. Some people just reel them in slowly a lot of times. Here is my Zell-Pop. You just sink it and reel it like a spinner, or you can just sit there and pop it like a topwater frog. Okay, let's move here to the tubes. These are the tubes. You mostly just want to sink these and then bop them. They're really good for winter time because when all the bass go down and settle at the bottom of the lake, whatever you're fishing at. So I like to use these when it's pretty cold out, or when they go down when it's hot, really hot. But mostly in the winter time, you're gonna use your tubes. Okay, let's move to the lizards. They're named salamanders. I mean, you usually just want to put a sinker on it and then let it sink down and bobble. That's all I use them for. They seem to work pretty good when you do that. A lot of times I've known people that just reel them in. They don't like to sink. And that works pretty well too, but I suggest just sinking and bobbling. Okay, down to the grubs. Here are my grubs, biggest to smallest. And they work pretty well. You can do almost anything with grubs. You can sink them, you can bobble them, you can pop them, you can just reel them in slowly, you can reel them in quickly, whatever you want to do with these. I suggest getting one of these, the monster ones. Okay, let's move over here to the worms. Here is my pumpkin seed firetail. It's got a brown body with black dots in it, and then it's got a fiery red tail with black dots in it. Let's move over here to my green worm. It's got sparkles in it, and bass love those sparkles. I don't really necessarily like the long tails. It kind of messes me up when I'm fishing. They get ripped off easy. The fish bite them. It's just one piece of bait gone. Here is my silver platinum tail. One side silver and platinum, one's just pure purple with green sparkles. And it's pretty flashy and the bass will go crazy for it. I recommend getting some of these. And here's my crankbait rooster tail. Pretty expensive. This costs $9. I think it probably works pretty well. I read about them. I looked them up on the computer. Bass fishermen recommend using them, especially in September. Okay, well, here's basic bait for bass fishing. Okay, so see you later.